Here with Dr. Deepak Chopra. Deepak, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, thank you, Bob.
Deepak, one of the things, I just want to credential you just a little bit. Time Magazine has called you one of the top 100 heroes and icons of the century. That's pretty good. You're also a clinical professor where are you a clinical professor, Deepak?
At the UCSD Medical School, and as far as Time Magazine is concerned, it's probably just some editor there who liked me.
Is fond of you.
Yeah.
Well, you and I have had the chance to work together many times over the years, and I'm really thrilled that we were able to do this program for PBS called Becoming MetaHuman. And the reason is it's just filled with useful information based all on your book called MetaHuman. Let's just start briefly with what is MetaHuman? What is that?
Bob, the word meta means beyond, and the word human in this context means beyond the conditioned human mind. So our minds, our ego identities are fragmented from the totality of knowledge and experience. When we go beyond our ego identity, we enter a field of infinite possibilities, which is our true self, which is MetaHuman.
It's so exciting. And in the program, we talk a lot about the various steps that we can take to actually become MetaHuman. But my bigger question for you right now is, why is this so important right now? As we're all going through this time, why is becoming MetaHuman so important?
Well, right now, if you just watch the news and social media, you'll see that the world is conflicted, divided, fragmented, and the consequence of that is climate change, eco-destruction, extinction of species, mechanized death, post-nuclear age, biological warfare, everything that's divisive and fragmented and limiting our creativity. So MetaHuman says there are creative solutions to every problem. It doesn't matter what the problem is. Personal problem, emotional problem, relationship problem with the environment. There is a creative solution. We have the wrong metaphors, Bob, right now in our language. War on terrorism, war on drugs, war on poverty, war on racism, war on everything. It's the wrong metaphor. The war doesn't create any solution, only creativity. So right now we need creative solutions. We need emergence that can only come if everybody in the world undergoes personal transformation, becomes peaceful, loving, and joyful. Joyful, energetic body, loving, compassionate heart, reflective, alert mind, lightness of being. If we all had that, this would be a joyful world.
You have a more than 25-year relationship with PBS and the viewers on PBS going back to the early 1990s, and here we are again. Why is that platform so perfect for your work in helping to bring science and spirituality, an integrated approach to life, to that audience?
Well, I've always believed in a phenomenon called emergence. And emergence happens when you bring disparate disciplines all together and have an open platform, total transparency, feedback. So when you bring humanitarians, scientists, technologists, storytellers, entertainers, and educators all together, and you tell a new story, you're likely to see something called emergence, which means a phenomenon that happens that never happened before, creative phenomenon. PBS is the perfect platform because it combines those things: education, entertainment, storytelling, philosophy, and science. You can't get that anywhere else.
You're joined in this program by really an incredible array of folks who are helping to address the idea of awareness or the idea of consciousness, or from different perspectives, whether it be a public health perspective or whether it be a behavioral psychologist. Can you talk a little bit about the folks that we've been able to gather to kind of help bring this idea that awareness is fundamental to reality?
But we are having this conversation because we are aware beings, right? People are watching us because they're aware beings. Without awareness, there's no experience, but there's no knowing of experience. Before you name anything as an object, whether it's a book, a hand, or whatever, anything, a piece of furniture, before you name it, it's an experience, and it's an experience in awareness. So actually, every time we have any experience, we are actually constructing the experience. We're not just making an observation, we're constructing it. And in this program, we go through the mechanics of how we construct our experience, which means our personal reality. And therefore, the choice of people in this program is all those people that lead to emergence: neuroscientists, public health professors from Harvard, cosmologists, humanitarians, storytellers, entertainers. They're all there, and they're all giving us their take on what is reality. And when you listen to all of them, you see that underlying all of that is one thing. Without awareness, there's no experience, there's no knowing. And without experience or knowing, or how we construct our knowing, we are doing it irrationally. We are creating an insane world right now, an ecosystem that may not survive. Right now, the human species is at a crossroads. Either we go through extinction, this what they call the seventh extinction, which will be as a result of human behavior with all the things that we see in the world, or we can go the creative route together and create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. That's the vision.
You know, it's fascinating, and I want everybody to remember that the reason we're putting this program out onto PBS is that they're seeking members to their PBS stations, and that we would ask them to support their local PBS stations who are so critical to bringing lifelong learning into their lives. Within the program, we talk about 3 steps, 3 phases of enlightenment: understanding yourself, mastering reality, and going beyond existence. What's for the viewer who comes and finds this program on their local PBS station, what's the deliverable? What can we promise that they'll then glean from this? Because this is not just information, it's useful information, as with many of the things that you and I have done together.
So the answer is at 2 levels. One is relatively abstract, which is perception doesn't give rise to awareness. Awareness gives rise to perception. And that's the first step, understanding that. The second is our perception creates the experience of everyday reality. So by knowing how you construct your perceptions, you actually take part in the creation of everyday reality, which means everything from your biological well-being to your emotions, to your personal relationships, to your social interactions, to your success in the world of business, and ultimately to your relationship with the universe. Nothing could be more important.
It's just great. That's a big promise that we have. It's talked about, the subtitle of the book and of our television show is Unleashing Your Infinite Potential. And, I don't know anyone who wouldn't like to unleash, the side of them that they all feel. We all feel that inside, and we're looking for those tools to try to become more, or to have a peak experience. Can you talk a little bit about a couple of those tools and maybe lead into your new book, Total Meditation? Because I know that you feel fundamentally that going in allows us to be more aware.
Yes, I can. I mean, the main thing to realize is that when you go beyond the ego identity, which says I'm an individual, DEEPAK Chopra, squeezed into the volume of a body in the span of a lifetime, then you basically limit your possibilities. But if you go to the source of all intelligence, which is awareness, which is the source of thought, the source of emotions, the source of imagination, the source of intuition, the source of inspiration, the source of what we call free will or choice, and the source of every other experience that you can possibly imagine, then by going to that level, you open up a field of possibilities that you didn't know existed. That field of possibilities, by the way, is glimpsed every time you look at a child. When you look at a child, you see infinite possibilities. You see wonder, you see curiosity, you see innocence. You don't see any ideological opinions. You don't see, oh, I favor communism, I'm a socialist, I'm a capitalist, or whatever, I'm Christian, Hindu, Jew, whatever. The child with wonder and curiosity and innocence and free imagination, not burdened by the conditioning of the human mind, is actually an example of what is possible. You know, when you look at children and they're playing, you say, what are you playing at? I want to be an astrobiologist. I want to be a carpenter. I want to be a poet. They're talking about infinite possibilities all the time. It's we adults who, under the guise of education, freeze them in their possibilities, freeze them. The word education comes from two roots, edu, core. It means to bring out what is at the core of a human being. So true education is tapping into infinite possibilities, not information overload. If I want information overload, I Google. But if I want infinite possibilities, I go to the source of all experience. My new book is an extension of everything that is there in MetaHuman. So my new book actually tells you how to be anchored in that experience of infinite possibilities, how to live infinite possibilities at all times, not just when you meditate once or twice a day,